players. Welcome to a more casual event here at Red Seal Gaming Presents the Lords of Waterdeep. So, here at Red Seal Gaming, after our episode of Journeys down a path of gaming for the three of us, everybody was asking why is Lords of Waterdeep in your top three for pretty much, I think, all three of us.
Top one.
It was probably one we just
Correct.
We just didn't do one, right?
Yeah.
So I'm here with my buddy Sal. So,
Greetings all. Magic missile.
And I'm here with my buddy Christopher,
Hello there.
who is our master of ceremonies at Red Seal when it comes to teaching people games. Nobody does it better. So Christopher's going to give us a quick breakdown of Lords of Waterdeep, how it's kind of set up and played, and we'll discuss further.
All right, so Lords of Waterdeep is a European-style worker placement game that was published in 2012. I know it's a little old, but 2012 by Wizards of the Coast, same people that make Magic the Gathering and Dungeons & Dragons. Now, there's two things in that sentence that maybe you don't understand. European game and worker placement. European game is the parallel to what we would call Ameritrash. Ameritrash are the games that we grew up with. They are full of dice, full of conflict, and full of luck. So think of your risks. You're headbutting against somebody else on the board, and you are rolling dice, and if your dice aren't with you, no matter what your strategy is, you're not going to do well. European-style games take the luck element out as much as they can, and they try to focus on the strategy, and that's what Lords of Waterdeep is. Worker placement is exactly what it sounds like. You're going to take a worker. In the case of Waterdeep, it's a small little wooden meeple, and you're going to place it on a board, worker placement. And when you do, you're going to get resources that are then going to translate into you scoring points. Now, original European-style games, worker placements, it was literally, I'm going to take this orange cube, and I'm going to get this many points for having an orange cube at the end of the game. Not the most exciting thing in the world. The reason why Lords of Waterdeep sings for everybody here at the table is because it's dripping in theme. Oozing. They did such a great job in putting in all of the theme of Dungeons & Dragons in a very strategic, very easy-to-teach game. So instead of getting orange cubes, you're not getting orange cubes, you're getting warriors, and you're getting them at the tavern. And instead of getting black cubes, you're not getting black cubes, you're getting rogues. And they have these little backstabbing swords.
Little stabby daggers.
You're not going to Blackstaff Tavern to get purple cubes, you're getting wizards. And they're going to do the arcane, they're going to know the arcane for you.
You're a wizard, Harry.
You're not going and getting white cubes, you're getting clerics. The ones that have the ability to be pious and to answer those piety quests.
You mean like me?
Yeah, just like you.
Yep.
So anyhow, Lords of Waterdeep.
Sure.
I'm sorry, Chris. I have one question.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Does this game have dice?
It does not have dice.
This game sucks.
And that's exactly what you heard him say last time, that he was turned off by it. It's a D&D game with no dice. But that's the beauty of European-style games. They do that.
They do it.
So just to wrap this up, you place your dudes on the board, you get resources, which just so happen to be adventurers, and you're trying to score victory points. Well, how does that play out? It plays out by quests. Just like a good D&D party, when you put your adventurers together, I'm going to take 2 warriors and 3 clerics and 1 wizard. We're going on a quest. And you, as the titular Lord of Waterdeep, are going to get renown or victory points based on how well you do that. And that is kind of Lords of Waterdeep.
Yep.
Yeah.
We talk about the Lords of Waterdeep, and you pick a lord randomly when the game starts. One of the cool things about the lore of Waterdeep is that the city is run by a council of
yes.
I don't know
hidden lords.
Hidden lords. We don't know how many
council
sit
of hidden
at all
lords
time.
that are not masks, and then one lord is the open lord that everyone gets to see in
like
the
people
lords.
see.
Yeah.
So behind him is I guess you could say a coven almost of like these secret lords that hide themselves, powerful individuals.
Powerful individuals that run different sectors in the city that, but everyone's vying to be the open lord, because you're the one that gets all the
And then when they
now.
sit down and they have meetings, they are masked. They don't know who each other are. They don't really know. Only the open lord of Waterdeep knows who everyone is.
Yeah.
And everybody else is hitting a mask. Hence why when the game starts, you pick a lord, but it's hidden amongst your the rest of the playgroup.
Yeah. Now, have we actually tried that and wore masks in one thing? Yeah, with the Halloween. What was those?
It was like a mirrored mask.
The mirrored mask. Like, let's put them all on, and like the visibility is definitely horrible playing a board game.
Oh, we tried. Yeah, we tried.
They steamed up horribly. I couldn't see nothing.
You can't see nothing.
But man, it was fun wearing a hood and a cape and wearing this mirrored mask that you could barely see them.
That was super fun.
It was really cool for like 3 minutes, and then it was not cool anymore.
I think I made it to 10.
Yeah.
But anyhow, so last episode, we actually announced that this was our favorite game. This was Dan's official favorite game, and I think Sal and I would both agree that we would have called it our favorite game if we weren't trying to get some content out of it. Yeah. So what is so special about Warlords of Waterdeep for you, Dan, that is so endearing for you?
First of all, it's a story behind why I didn't play. How I wanted to play. I always looked at it because it says Dungeons and Dragons on it. It says Wizards of the Coast on it. It's got all the lore that I'm used to reading about. I've been reading about for 30 years. So, but the fact that I didn't want to play because Big John kept telling me to play and I refused because there was no dice. But then when we actually played the game, easy to learn. I would say not extremely difficult to master, but there is a skill set that you have to learn once you learn all the mechanics of the game. So much so that the three of us, I would say, are very equal when it comes to how good we are with the game and our knowledge of the game. So much so that the game always ends with us being within 5 to 8 points of each other, which is basically one action of the 4 to 6 actions you take every turn. It's just this one miss can make the difference in the game. This one mandatory quest that you give somebody that makes them have to do something else and slows them down. So, I mean, I could go on and on forever how much I love the game, but in the end, what makes a really good board game for me is replay value, and I could play this game every day.
Yeah,
I could pick it up and play. I'm never like, oh, it takes 3 hours. Oh, the setup is so long. Maybe I just don't feel like it or whatever. But because of my love for Dungeons and Dragons and because of the ease of play and the, I guess the casualness of it, but yet I'm still racking my brain a little bit. But I could like place my worker, do my thing, go grab a slice of pizza, come back. What'd you do? Oh, you son of a gun! You took my spot or whatever. And then
you don't have to be exactly on the board.
So I'm not
all
like
the time.
I'm not like super like I playing a game of Warhammer. Playing a game of Flesh and Blood. Flesh and Blood.
Oh, my goodness.
You have to be present.
I know it's not a board game,
you have to be present.
But the intensity in Flesh and Blood, it's good. It's intense. It's a battle. It's supposed to be intense, and it's great that it is that way. But after I'm done playing a good Flesh and Blood game, which I haven't even played a month, sorry face, but it's stressful. I am spent, or a good game of chess, you spent afterwards. But so in the end, it's obviously the theme, the challenge of playing with guys that I'm familiar playing with and how good they are. And then replay value is just so high for me.
And that replay value also gives you, because of the expansion box, we used to play the core game, and then with that expansion, it gives you 2 different modules to add to the core base game that lets you, and you can include one, you can include both, you can include none. So like that replayability even then is...
and then they're also just that much more lore-based.
Yeah.
Like it's Skullport and...
Undermountain.
Undermountain, yeah.
And if you know... Dungeons and Dragons Forgotten Realms lore, Undermountain was a massive maze built by Halaster the Mad, crazy wizard. He actually legitimately went insane.
Yeah.
He built this giant maze filled with traps and monsters.
Yeah, let's just make a dungeon because I can, and then
and then if you look on the map, there's one of the ways to get into the Undermountain is through
the Yawning Portal,
Durnan's Tavern, the Yawning Portal, which is an entry well that people would pay to go in. Which again adds to the whole lore. If you play D&D and you play the Forgotten Realms, you've probably been to Waterdeep. So it really is 100% the lore of the game.
What about you, Sal? What brings you back to the game all the time?
It's just Dungeons and Dragons. So whenever we play Dungeons and Dragons, Waterdeep in the setting is it's the cultural center of the Forgotten Realms. It's Manhattan, it's London, it's the central city that's the biggest, most metropolitan city in the realms. So like it's so massive. When we used to role play it, they had the original box set, the multiple maps for all the city blocks, and like you can't explore every nook and cranny of that city. So having this game and being focused in the city, and once again bringing up those places like the Yawning Portal. How many times did our adventurers go down the Yawning Portal on that little pulley system, and we get the first few rooms, and then you're like dead, and it's like, great, let's pay to go back up. And like just knowing the city in and out like that as a role play game setting. But for me too, it was when we weren't playing D&D. This was a little slice of D&D on the weeks and sometimes months that we wouldn't play actual role playing pen and paper. Oh, let's play Waterdeep. It scratched the itch enough to get rid of that the intrigue, and it was really just like political intrigue. It's like the idea of you're sending these agents, go do my bidding, and like come back and You know, what'd you bring back to me? And like, is that forwarded my my progress?
And all that lore you're speaking of is on every quest.
It's on every quest.
We don't always read it because, you know, we played them so long. You could read every quest.
Everyone.
It says what it's there, why you're doing it.
They bring up like Westgate is like off in the eastern part of the realms with vampires, and like there's so much little like nuggets.
Zentarum. They talk about the Zentarum.
Everybody's in here.
Xanathar. I mean, Xanathar is one of the lords in the expansion.
Yeah, the Beholder that's, you know, famous on, if you play Magic the Gathering and you've done the D&D you know, series of cards, all those characters are in play here. The idea of Undermountain, and then Skullport is a city where all the evil races conglomerate into the Underdark and this under portion of the pretty much underground caverns of the Forgotten Realms. All these shady characters there, and it's kind of reflected in the amount of resources you can get. They're like, you know, a little more lucrative, but they have a little more
risk attached to them.
Yeah, it feels like it.
Your favorite mechanic in the expansions?
Oh, that corruption is like, oh my God, it's like
So the way the Undermountain works is that you actually, for everything that you place, you're going to get more resources, but you're getting a negative. And you don't know how negative it is until the very end of the game. It could be a negative 1 point. It could be a negative 8 points.
Yeah. And you're going backwards on the track.
That varies depending on how deep the entire board
so
is gone into the corruption.
Yeah, so if everybody at the board is going corrupt, then they're going to be worth like buco negative points.
Yeah.
If only one or two people, they're going to have a benefit because they're doing some back alley deals and they're getting a little bit more benefit from it.
And it's random if you're going to have the ability, like there's only a few buildings that you could put into play that will shed that corruption and lower the number from maybe -7, -6, -5. And that's per corruption token. So I've gone fully around up and then almost went back completely negative.
Halfway. I've gone back. I've literally gone back, I think, half my score.
Because some of the lords have very specific win conditions, and like certain ones want certain quest options and they score at the end of the game. But some of them in the expansions, I think Xanathar himself, or one of the either the Illithid or the Beholder, it's, you know, you get a point. He
gets points for corruption.
But you still have the negative. You're going forward, and then you're still going backwards.
Yeah.
So,
you're not going as far back.
He wants it, but he wants it around the -3 or -4 mark. He don't want it any higher.
Tough. But yeah,
and then people see you doing that, and they'll do everything they can to stop you from shedding it.
They know what you're doing.
But there's that replay value that we're talking about, because it's basically three. I mean, you could play it by itself. You can play with one expansion. You can play with the other expansion, or you can play with both expansions.
Yeah, on just straight.
So it's like, you know, it's like 5 different ways to play the game.
And
so,
it's traditionally one of those games that like I know my family, my wife Gabby and my daughter Charlotte, they will, if I mention, hey, want to play Waterdeep? Like they jump on that. They love that game because it's so simple. They love it. They just love how this game plays. So it's a great family game. And I really think it's a game you could teach your parents. It's got that low level difficulty. I think once they go through a full round, it's like, I think that's it. So that part of the game is invaluable.
They might get all the lore, you know, when you're showing them the new game, but they'll get the simplicity of it.
The mechanic.
And then the complexity is there. The more you play, you start seeing it. Like at the end, you know, we'll talk about our playthrough coming up, but we had a new player with us. Our buddy John was the first time playing, and you could see the realization by like the second round. He's like, okay, I see what's going on here, and boom, they get it. And anybody we've played with and showed the game, they get it pretty quick.
Yeah. I've never seen someone be like, I've finished the game and then be like, I still don't know what's going on. Like it's never happened.
No.
Yeah, by round 2, you're good. And to piggyback back, both of what you said is exactly why I love it, but it's the ability to onboard new people. I've probably taught Lords of Waterdeep to 4 or 5 different groups, and 3 of those groups are not gamers. They are not card players. They are not Magic the Gathering heads. They're not D&D players. They
Monopoly people.
They are, exactly. They're Monopoly, Risk, Trivial Pursuit people.
Yeah.
And I'm like, let's play something different. Let's do something more strategic. And each and every time, not only have they loved Waterdeep, not only have they bought it themselves, but it's been a gateway for me to get them to play Dungeons & Dragons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can take
always a positive.
You can take the game for exactly what it is. It is a resource management game. Be the most efficient you can be. I'm going to collect orange cubes, and I'm going to get points for those cubes.
Don't read a quest if you don't want
read a quest. Don't read a single word. Just colors and cubes, and I'm going to get that many points for it. You can math this game to death and have a good time strategically, or you can read every line of every line item on those cards and really dig into the lore and the just dripping with theme of the game.
I don't know if you guys have done this, but watching a bowl game and I'm sitting there looking at my box, I just literally grab the quest and just start
reading the quest.
It's like reading little novelettes.
Yeah,
almost.
little nuggets of lore.
Yeah, little like, oh wow, little novellas like, oh wow, look at this. Oh, okay. Oh, that's why the Temple Timora. That's why and just like that's why that quest exists.
My wife was not a board gamer whatsoever. I still would not call her a crazy gamer, but at the same time, like she played Monopoly and just didn't like it, like because it's not a fun game if you really play it correctly.
It's so much chance.
Yeah. And I was like, well, I'm really in the board game. Can we try it? And this is one of the first ones. This one and Tickets to Ride were the first two that I play with her. And I've gotten her to play D&D after that. I've gotten her to play other more advanced games. And because this is so easy, if I say, oh, it's like Lords of Waterdeep with this one extra thing, she'll try it. Mm-hmm. Because she knows that this was so easy to learn that if it's Waterdeep with one extra layer, she'll also learn the next thing. Yeah. And if it's like, oh, it's like Ticket to Ride, it's got one extra thing, she's in. If I tell her it's a brand new game, we're going to play Jaws, she's going to like lose her mind because it's like, I don't know how to even start. Yeah. But when it's this simple and this full of theme, it catches everybody. I haven't found anybody that I've played this with and said, oh, it's not for me. Like they're in. It's just the perfect all-around game.
I think it's also like coming from Monopoly and stuff like that. Again, that's what, when you talk about entry point, it's the first time they see that they have control over what they're doing. My biggest gripe was always no dice, right? The truth is dice is random and it's you get it or you don't. With this, your action is truly controlling what you're doing and you have some kind of like control over it. You could see, oh, okay, if I go here and next thing you know, you're 3 steps ahead and you're like, oh, okay, this could work. And then somebody throws a wrinkle in it and now you're forced to pivot, but you don't pivot. You don't have to worry about rolling a 6. You don't need a 4+. You're like, all right, now I have to go this way, and you can see a new path and try to go that way.
And we talked about it last week with Destiny versus SWU. How SWU was fun because you could roll the dice, but there was a way that you could strategically play that game perfectly and still lose. Yeah. This is still the same. It's still a card game. You you're still at the mercy of the cards that you draw, but at the same time, you're taking a little bit of that randomness out, and you're more strategic against the people you're playing with. And it's not super combative. It's not no. Why don't we save that for after we do the playthrough?
Yeah,
we'll talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. So there's very few ways to have I'm gonna make you stop playing. Like there's very few. There's some board games where it's just like I'm not doing anything. I'm sitting there and you guys keep going around. So like this game really doesn't. There's one mechanic which we could show basically, but it's not.
So let's segue that into we're going to play a game. And we're gonna have our buddy John join us, and he's a new player. So we wanted to have like that new player experience with some veterans to show what happens when you onboard somebody to this game and show a little bit of how we play. It's not going to be a full like instructional playthrough. It's going to be more of a like here, probably going to play at a 2x speed so you can try to see what's happening. And then we'll come back and we'll chat up a little bit of how the game went. Mm-hmm. And we're back. It's like a Doctor Who episode. We time travel.
Yeah.
Or a Scooby-Doo.
Time jump.
So we just did a playthrough with the 4 of us. John will be the voice from Beyond. We'll get a little commentary from him in a minute. Let's, I guess, start with the accolades. Maybe we'll really quick in the comments, maybe guess who won, but unfortunately, it was not me this time.
Wow.
But
it wasn't me either.
Despite his sinister laugh, it also wasn't Christopher. It was Salvatore.
All right, so I always play green. I always play the Hoppers.
And you also got to play Kelvin Blackstaff.
Yes, my number 1 hero of the draw.
Yeah, that's his favorite lord. I actually was playing mine too. The Paladin Son is my favorite in this particular expansion.
Which is always hard when we start these games. So like when you pick your lord and people start pulling quests, and you're like, oh man, he's pulling warfare type of quests, or you're pulling arcane type of quests, and you're like, those overlap with your quest.
There were actually 2 times where I hate drafted warfare away from you guys.
Yeah,
my lord had nothing to do with warfare, and I took a 25 and a 20 point quest away from you
just to
knowing that I was never going to do it, just to keep it away from you because I thought it was going to be.
John you had piety and what else? Do you remember, John?
Piety and arcane.
Piety and
okay,
Arcane.
yeah. So at least two of us were on Warfare.
No commerce.
And I know two of us were on Piety. So
Yeah, then there was no commerce players.
No commerce?
So
Yeah.
those quests just got either
Yeah,
rotated out. And,
We doubled up on Arcane, but I got a plot quest that gave me a lot of skullduggery extra points, so I left Arcane alone.
and you just went to
I just went
Skullduggery.
all skullduggery when I could.
yeah.
But that's the replay. There's the replay value.
Yeah.
You're playing a different way every time. You got to adjust to what lords were drawn, and and that doesn't happen right away. It takes you probably almost 2 rounds to really secure and know who's going after what, and then start making decisions.
Yeah, and towards the end of the game there, it really came down. I had 2 arcane quests on my sideboard, and I was doing the points, the numbers, totals, and and then someone reset all the quests, and a warfare quest came up, and it just netted me more points. And that was that one extra completed quest that my lord wanted, and that kind of netted me the extra little boost.
Yeah,
So
that got him the boost.
we
We,
did
were
pretty
all
close.
within 10.
Yeah, it
Of
was
each
less
other.
than.
Yes.
I think it was less than 10.
And
yeah,
with a brand new player, we were still under an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For a brand new game that he had just picked up. We've played obviously a lot, but I mean, he just picked up an hour and a half. You could probably get it down to hour 15
and
easy.
while we were playing, he downloaded the app.
Yeah, so everyone knows there's an app version of the game, and it plays fantastic. The AI is pretty tough, can be, but we've actually played it on the plane going to Gen Con.
Yeah, it's a perfect travel game.
It's been on the
Yeah, 'cause
iPad
you
passed
could,
around.
You could pass it around. That's right, it's a
turns.
plain
Don't get me
pass.
wrong, it doesn't
No, this
hold
is-
a candle to the in-person. Now, in-person's where it's at, but
it's-
it's a very, very
Yeah.
viable substitute.
Trapped at the DMV or something. I mean, just play some.
That's what it is.
Waterdeep,
And then you put it in your pocket, and you come back a day or two later and continue the same game, and you could just pick it up where you left off.
Well, last time we went to Gen Con, we were on the plane out. We got through like 2.5 games, but
Yeah.
we stopped the third game in the middle, and we didn't start it again until we got back on
Back
the
on the
plane,
plane,
going back to
going-
Jersey.
I
Go
sat too far away to play.
Yeah, that's why you were like 3 or 4 rows ahead
Yeah.
of us. I remember that. Yeah, but
But-
the app is great, which it completely gives you the feel, at least by yourself. Whatever.
And it's got some sounds in it and other things like that.
Dude, I
we-
hummed the
you were,
sounds-
You were making the sounds of the app while we were playing the physical game here.
And it's the fixed 8 rounds. Like, the game is ending. There's not this like convoluted ending. Like, oh, I got all these points, and then you stole it, and the game's going to go another 3 hours.
It's not ambiguous.
It's
It
not-
is-
it's ending. So
no stalemate, no stalemating. You can block people, but you can't lock down the game.
Yeah,
where it's like
I'm
you
pretty
can't
sure that
finish.
I stopped you from winning.
Absolutely.
Because I took I basically what you could do is you could look at the board. Everything is open knowledge.
Except for
I
the
look
Lord
at
and
the
the
board.
intrigue, yeah.
He's ahead of me. He's behind me. I can block one of them, but not both of them.
Mm-hmm.
I blocked the guy that's ahead of me, and I ended up finishing ahead of Dan. But when the person I didn't block, he ended up was
Yeah,
able
what-
to kind of sneak
and,
it out.
And quick spoiler, I had a mandatory quest in my hand. And it was like, do I want to waste the action of sending and late game, and then I wasn't going to be able to take him and get anywhere else to finish. It was just more beneficial to get that. And really that warfare quest coming out superseded that quest, and it would have wasted step.
And I took the exact opposite action of you. I had the quest, and I was deciding to make the choice: do I give the quest or go and get the gold? And I didn't go get the gold. I
it
gave the
cost you.
mandatory, and it cost me.
It's usually that one when you get to that point. With
It's that
long
one
play.
play.
It's
It's
one
always
play.
and you don't see it until after the game's over.
Yeah.
You could look back and you could say, "Oh, I was in turn 3. If I would have done this, because that mandatory quest happened in turn 7."
Yeah.
But even with a new player, John kept pace with us, and it's not like you really have to be doing something completely wrong to we went 1 turn and a half, and John was already on pace.
Yeah,
and
John's
totally knew.
only deficiency was inexperience in action efficiency,
And
'cause
knowing
that's what
what's
this game's all
and
about.
kind of knowing what's coming. Like
Yeah.
we kind of like, all right, you know what, like
Yeah, we've had the. I've seen that quest before. I know what it does. It's optimal. It's
or the
suboptimal.
intrigue card, like knowing what intrigue, you're like, oh, that's spending that now is probably my best bet, and vice versa. But yeah, it was it's fun.
Let's get a quick voice beyond John. Scale 1 to 10. What would you say of board games you played?
Potential to go higher.
7 with a potential to go high.
Okay.
Not too bad for a first play.
That's exactly what we want. That's a great score for an entry level game. So I mean that just goes to, I think it just goes to show how we feel about this game and is it a big selling point? No, that's the other thing. This game is $50. You want to talk about point entry? I mean, we've gone stupid. I mean, if you could see it on camera, when you watch the playthrough, it's going to be at higher speed.
Bling factor is a
Yeah,
whole different.
we bought a nice grippy mat.
That's terrible, Matt.
A grippy mat.
Fantastic.
The mat looks good, but it feels awful. But we have upgraded the blocks, so it comes with cubes in the base set, but we've upgraded them to actually look like warriors and clerics and
so on,
rogues. We've upgraded the box, obviously, and
coins,
the most
the
important thing is the coins.
Metal coins.
The metal coins are they're a must.
The metal
Just
coin-
clinking them, having a whole bunch of them and clinking
it's
them is
amazing.
just like a
Just
mental factor.
Just remember, we warned you, all right? Because buying this game is $50, and buying this game, I think, is also $50.
$40, I think. I
Well, it's even
think
cheaper.
expansions
So,
even cheaper.
and both expansions are in here. It's a 2 expansion box. So for about $100, you get a fantastic game with ridiculous amount of replay. I don't think if you pick this game up, I would challenge you in about a year that it's probably the game you played the most in the games in your collection. That's how I feel.
Especially with new players.
Especially with
I
new
think
players.
it's perfect
Yeah.
for new players. It's perfect for D&D groups that don't get to play as often because of scheduling things. Like if you have a group of 6 people, a DM and 5 players, and 2 people can't show up, this is on the table on our regular scheduled night.
And you could play twice
Yep.
in that regular schedule night because it takes about an hour and a half. And then there are there's actually short versions and long versions of the game, which give you either more or less of the work as the place.
Yeah, first off, the core box is 4 players, and the expansion turns it to 6.
Brings it up to, I think it's 5 and 6.
5 and 6.
So 2 to 5, and then this goes
That
up
adds
to
a 6
2
player.
to 6.
Yeah, so you have that. So it's a 6-player game's nice. Not every play. Most games are 4 players.
A 6-player game that it could be played in an hour and a half.
Yes, that's still on the same time track.
Yeah,
and then how many agents you have is based on how many players are at the table. So if it's just the 2 of you, you have more agents. So they've definitely made
They scale the time well.
they scale the time well, and it's still the same amount of time. What's the scariest part about this game is its age, the fact that it is. It's old, and maybe with the climate in the world we're in, the idea of this getting reprinted,
2012.
for a long time, is
Now
scary.
I'm starting to feel old. This is 2012 on it, buddy.
I can't say that I'm not tempted to buy another set of this and bury it, knowing my cardboard version can fray and get because it's one of those games I want to play till I'm
I hate to
bury me with a copy.
I hate to cloud the joy of this game with the tariff situation that we're facing nowadays. But I mean, almost every board game, 90% of board games that we have in the United States are imported. And I would say probably 85% of that comes from China.
Yeah.
And this game is one of them. So I don't know.
The highest tariffs.
I'm actually, you know what? When we end this podcast, I'm going to go right to one of my distributors and
Order as many as you can.
as many as I can because, like Sal says, we want to have maybe a copy to give to my grandkids someday.
Yeah,
like
it's
that,
just
put it on ice.
you know how games overuse. Just nicking the corners on boxes is something that can irk most. You're OCD like me, so it's just having a pristine game that's going
Unless you
to
buy
last.
a $200 wood box to keep it in.
True, but
what would you say cost of the blinged out versions we have?
My wife might watch this. I don't want to say.
you don't want to know what I spent on Outer
I would
Rim,
say
what I
probably if the board game in total is probably 100. I would say that the box and everything that I bought when I did was probably 150 to 200.
Okay.
Now it's probably even more. And this box isn't even made any longer, so that's another thing. But there are other companies that make the blinged out versions and stuff like this.
I remember the coins alone being like $50.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
and you need a certain amount to fill the core requirements.
And over the years, I think I've replaced the Beeples 2 times because they found another company that made a cool looking one, and I bought those.
But because it's so old, you don't find those upgrades as readily available because it's an older game and people, and they haven't is there an anniversary? What year was it?
2012, but there has never been an anniversary.
There's never been an
for it.
anniversary edition. So State of Watsy probably
Well,
won't
this
ever be.
this is not a Ticket to Ride that sold 1 million copies. It's probably a 20,000 copy game.
It is their first real board game for D&D, right?
And they
aside
did
from Dungeon and this was the first era of
They did a bunch after it, but none of them were as popular.
no, they were all themed on the modules that came out. There was a Giants
Other than
game,
our
the
other,
Dragons,
that was Gale Force 9.
Tyrants of
that
the
made-
Underdark was Gale Force 9. That was
9,
different.
right.
which we'll hopefully play on screen.
That'd be
too,
another good one
because
to play too.
That's super fun. But yeah,
Can we even get that one? I don't even know.
Tyrants, yeah.
Yeah, we can still
It's
get Tyrants?
still print.
Okay.
but yeah, spending extra. You don't even want to know what I spent on Outer Rim. Jesus.
We tend to do. This mat alone, I think it was $65 or whatever.
And you can throw it in the garbage.
That's freaking awesome.
It looks awesome.
It looks
feels
awesome.
it feels
Say,
awful.
My little token that I own that building never moved.
It never moved.
And when I play
It
home,
never
those
moved.
things.
So
won't move.
just as a joke, Chris doesn't like the feel of this mat because it's
a grip
grippy
mat.
style. It's supposed to stop the cards from sliding, which it does what it's supposed to do, and it's great.
Yeah. They do
Chris
regular
is
neoprene
kind of
version.
apparently has an aversion to sticky mats.
Yeah.
As you-
ASMR and grip mats, no go.
There are
So
neoprene
like-
versions of this. Dan just got grippy.
Please stop.
problem.
It's like a 50-50. People like grippy X-wing mats, and then 50% don't like it. So it's in the same.
I get you.
ballpark.
Yeah. I get the argument in X-Wing because
I don't want it to move.
I don't want it to move, but I'm also used to sliding. So
Meat knuckles.
me,
Those things just bump everything. Anyway, yeah, it was super fun.
yeah, it's always super fun. Great game. I mean, if you're into board games and you're looking for something affordable, that if you buy both, 2 to 6 people, replay value is really high. I can't say enough. For me, it's always a 10.
Even just the base game is a great replay value. The expansion just adds another level and more lore. Even just the base game is good enough.
Yep. And this if I make a never stop gaming list, this is always going to be on that list. I don't know how high. It depends on what other gaming is going on, but this will without a doubt always be on my list.
If there was a gold seal, it would have the gold seal.
Yeah, we're gonna start doing the red seal of approval.
How many red seals does this get?
How many red seals we got to come up with? You know what? Maybe that's something we'll start doing. We'll start doing when we do these review videos. We'll come up with a scaling system and make that happen.
Well, let's do it right now. Out of 10, what would
Out
you
of
give?
10?
Out of 10.
Out of 10, this would be turn it up to 11.
Oh my, 11 from this guy. What do you think?
I would say
Sal?
it's up there. I mean, I have there's no negative for me for this game. So, yeah.
I never like to give a perfect score, so I'm going to give a 9, but it is a strong 9.
Yeah.
100%.
You can tell who the optimist is and who the pessimist is.
I just gave it a 9. What are
Yeah.
you talking about?
I gave it a 10. You're an 11. So we're
Wait,
at
if you give this a 9, so now
Oh, so we average a 10. They were good.
that's
We've
good.
done our job.
That's why I gave it 11 because I knew you were going to give it a 9. I needed to get up that 10. So if you become a follower of this channel and you like what we do here, keep an eye out to see if Chris ever gives a 10. Because if he doesn't give this game a 10, nothing's getting a 10. I'll tell you right now, it's never going to happen.
Perfection might not exist.
It might. Well,
Present company excluded.
oh,
I'm sorry.
thank you. Good save, Chris.
All right.
You could stay here. But other than that, maybe if you wanted us to maybe try another game and check it out and play it, if you guys have something you want us to give a roll, if there's something else that we've already talked about and you want us to give a roll, give us a shout out in the comments. And
we talked about maybe Catan or Ticket to Ride today, or
Some other games we're going to talk about.
Because we did mention Carcassonne, Ticket to Ride, and Catan as 3
I mean,
other.
Pandemic's another great one we can throw in there too.
Yeah.
So those 3 are like the onboard games, and it's funny because we all came from 3 different games.
We did.
I did not play Carcassonne. I've played Catan and I've played Ticket.
And I've never played Catan.
And
I've never played Carcassonne or Ticket to Ride.
Ticket to Ride.
So
There you go. See, there you go. So that would be the worst podcast ever. All of us playing a game that A, you don't like, and B, we haven't played. I think this game sucked. Don't do it. Don't.
You
watch
want
this
to
video.
see me give a perfect 0? I'll give a perfect 0.
let's get some 5s out there.
And again, in the end, it is all about opinion. We may like something and you may not, and that's fine. So, but again, in the comments, if there's something you want us to try, give us a heads up. Other than that, definitely check us out once again. We'll try to mix things up, and as I always say, if you're gonna never stop gaming, do it playing Lords of Waterdeep.
Yeah. Always cast Fireball.
Not in the small rooms.
Always.
Christopher, anything to say?
I want to be out of the room that casts Fireball.
You want to be out of
It's gonna
Save
singe,
or die,
It's gonna singe my feathers.
Save or die.
never stop gaming. Peace out, peoples.
Have a good night.